Howdy, you beautiful Bayou Bandits. This is episode 2 of my Bayou Brainstorm series, which I had a while ago. Kind of like a home reels series, but since he works at CRYTEK, he can't make these types of videos anymore, so I figured I'd try and be that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Okay. Okay?
There will be 2 rounds, one with longer questions and more to talk about, and then, as I like to call it, a fanning round with shorter questions that are easier to answer. If you guys want to see gameplay from me, check out my last 2 videos. It's very high quality edited gameplay videos with insights to let you know my thought process during the games. And I'd be grateful for your support over on Twitch at NOAURA TV. I'm live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. EST, and sometimes on the weekends. If you guys like this content, leave a like, comment, subscribe. It tells the algorithm that you enjoy this type of content and would love to see more, and it pushes it to other people as well. With that being said, I'll see you in the bayou. Alright, starting off, this person has the idea of making concertina tripwires not work when exploded. Essentially, they say that the stalemates are very annoying and it's not easy to move the door and disarm the traps without getting shot, and that's true. It's not easy, especially when the boss lair has a lot of sights on that said door. And with this idea, I think it would be amazing to use a dynamite and have it completely destroy the trap, meaning that you have free reign to run in and push at a moment's notice. Like this person saying, it still does require you to use your own resource. You're gonna have to use that dynamite or explosive, and then you can push after. And they also edited to say, which is very good, the trap will only be destroyed if it's in the explosive's kill range. So if you throw the dynamite and it touches the trap, therefore it would not destroy the trap. But if you throw it by the trap and it's in its kill range for that said explosive, then it will completely remove it, meaning that you can freely move in to that said lair. And I don't see a reason why this shouldn't be in the game. With the new update coming, if you open the door into a tripwire, it is going to explode it. And I personally don't like that. It doesn't get rid of it, it just blows it up. As if you were to shoot the trap like how you can now, it would just explode the trap. But this person's idea goes a little bit further into that, and I think is an amazing idea, allowing for less stalemates, quicker gunfights. If the attackers aren't the ones who are afraid to do anything, then they are able to make an easier push, not having to worry about the traps, because essentially if I have a dynamite, I can make sure that this door is completely available for me and my team to push in. The second idea is a pretty controversial one, but I want to dive into it as I think it requires some attention. This person's saying that the new scares traits should be acquirable more by our choice than RNG, and I completely agree. Their sentiment is that they don't want to see everybody with a bunch of burn traits going around, kind of like how the past events used to be when everybody had death cheat, and I don't either. But I do think that once you get to a certain point with your hunter and with the traits in the game, there's not much more to expand on. But with the burn traits, they're kind of just like a loose hanging thread in my opinion. There's a lot of potential and the traits are very good, so I understand why they're highly regulated. This person is also saying that they think it should come from a wild target, so you kill the wild target and always get one of these burn traits, or an immolator has a random spawn chance for it as well. I personally don't think the immolators should have a chance to spawn it, and I wouldn't be opposed to a wild target because there needs to be more of an incentive to go after the wild target. As it is now, nobody cares about the wild target, let's just be honest. You only use it if you need to use a boss banish, but with the current system of the new events, with the sealed cache in the middle of the map, that's where everyone goes to get the boss banish. It only takes a pledge mark. But long story short, I would love to see this idea be implemented on a little bit further, and I would propose a slight differentiation in the makeup of this idea. I believe that there should be maybe a 50% chance that the sealed cache spawns 1 burn trait a game, and it costs 4 upgrade points to get. The burn traits are the best traits in the game. They're actually even better than most of the event traits, but I think that if you could potentially use all 4 of your pledge marks, on the burn trait during the events, that this would implement more of the burn traits back into the game, and I don't think that that's inherently a bad thing. I think it's bad when all of them are laid out and you can get them for 1 to 2 pledge marks, kind of like how it used to be in previous events. But by this, you're giving people more of an opportunity so they don't have to go kill a meathead or miraculously find it around the map. But I think it would also spice up the economy of the pledge marks. With the sealed cache, you have many things to purchase, so not everybody is going to always get that burn trait every game. First, you have to get there and survive, and with that burn trait, it's going to add more people to come to that sealed cache in general. But I do think it will add an extra incentive to go to the sealed cache. It could potentially add an incentive to go to the wild target, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion. And it would add something else for people to spend their pledge marks on, and it's not going to make it into every hunter's trait slots because it costs 4 pledge marks. But I do think this is a solid idea and should be implemented. Now for, in my opinion, the most controversial suggestion in this video, this person says that the main mode in Hunt is feeling like a stalemate showdown. They propose we get a different deathmatch mode or larger lobbies in the shooting range. And I completely agree. However, when we talk about the deathmatch, I personally would love to see a copy and paste essentially of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2020's gunfight game mode, where it's essentially a small compound with 2 to 5 rounds, small timer, teams of 1 to 3. Everybody gets the same loadout and you just gunfight it out. The main appeal to Hunt is its gunfights. It's slower paced because of the time period. The guns aren't all fully automatic, and the world's technological advancements at the time, especially for weapons, it wasn't the same as it is in present day. So the gunfight is number 1 why people play Hunt Showdown. And I don't think anybody disagrees with that, but I think a lot of people would disagree with adding another game mode that's PvP focused. And I can understand where their sentiment lies, but I don't think that it shouldn't be added. I genuinely believe that a small PvP focused game mode should be added into Hunt Showdown, or at the very minimum, this person's suggestion of opening up the shooting range. Let me pick which compound I go to, and let me bring 5 to 6 people instead of only the 3 that is allowed right now. Especially the map in the shooting range, it gets very boring. It's kind of clustered with the dummies, and it's not laid out very well in my personal opinion. It does run its course, but just think if they had a solely PvP focused mode, not a lot of people are going to only play that. Yes, the gunplay is good like I mentioned, but the charm to Hunt comes in its atmosphere, the bosses. I know not many people just want PvE, but all of that comes into the essential experience of Hunt Showdown as we know it. So if you're afraid of this idea taking down the player count of the people that go into the main bounty hunt mode, I don't think it would be an issue, especially with the new rebranding of Hunt Showdown, its new update coming very soon, new map. We're going to have most likely a lot more players, and rightfully so. This game deserves it. But how awesome would it be to start Hunt, play 2-3 games of gunfight, get that good old warm up in for PvP, and then head into bounty hunt. I think most people would actually enjoy it if it was a thing, and I also don't think it would overtake the main mode, kind of how Escape from Tarkov Arena performed. Came out, a lot of people wanted to try it. They found out that they play Tarkov for its core gameplay, not only to fight players. I think the same would be apparent in the Hunt community. Now, lastly, to wrap up this portion, the spear rework is somebody else's recommendation, and I completely agree. The spear is busted, but they say it should be nerfed from the speed or the arc department, and it should be changed to a consumable with other people being able to pick it up. I think this would be an insanely cool change, and I would actually be for this because when the spear was added, the tools, aka all the knives, the dusters, the tomahawks, all of them aren't too much less as far as the hunt dollar cost goes. So nobody with a decent amount of money is going to pick those over the spear. And especially if you're solo, in my opinion, the spear is essential if you can afford it. And reason being, the melee world spawns around the boss layers have been drastically dropped, meaning it's hard to get a good melee around the boss layer. And for a solo, that's not something you want to worry about. Even a standard bayonet doesn't do nearly as much as a heavy melee from a spear. and you can throw the spear, and essentially it's a budget one-shot shotgun if you can hit. So moving it to a consumable opens up an extra tool slot, but it also does bring in a con that I can think of that might be now people have too much as far as the melee goes. They might have a bayonet on their gun, then they have a knife or a duster, and they can stab good with the bayonet, and then they have the spear and their consumable, and obviously that's good melee too. And then they have dusters in their tool slots. They can take care of blunt, so they have all grounds covered, and I think that might be a little too much. So that's the only downside I could see of making it a consumable, but I still think it probably should be. It's very overpowered, and it would be kind of cool to see people that don't have a consumable slot to be able to pick it up and throw it back at you. And as far as the art goes, obviously that would just be hacks with the spear, and that should never even be a thing. But what do we think about the spear? Now for the fanning round. This person suggests that we should have the ability to see our own detailed MMR, to hover over your own stars and know your exact MMR instead of just general stars, allowing you to see if the game improved your MMR or not. This is a solid idea and a good quality of life feature that CRYTEK should implement. I'm not sure why it's not in yet, but with the recent MMR changes, it would be amazing to know how much further I am away and the exact stats of my MMR. So yes, let's bring this to the table. Then we have somebody proposing stealth takedowns on AI. I think it would be cool if there was a trait like Silent Killer that would add no death sound effects for killing AI, but the trade-off is that you're vulnerable for the animation. Honestly, wouldn't mind seeing this baked into Silent Killer, but at the same time, I don't really know if we should do the whole animation takedown thing. I think that would be a little wonky, and I don't think that it fits in Hunt Showdown. So for this one, I would personally say it shouldn't be in the game, but let me know your guys' opinions. It's a cool idea, and Silent Killer maybe should just make the grunts not make any noise at all. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm in the middle of this, to be honest. Then we have someone saying Bulwark is silly for affecting the bomb lance, and its harpoon isn't easy to hit. Therefore, there shouldn't be a trait negating it. I completely agree. I think Bulwark in general isn't that good. I don't take it ever. Yeah, can it save me from explosives? Yeah. Can it save me from the harpoon? Yeah. Does it save me from being flashed as long? No, because nobody uses flash bombs, so that's, you know, irrelevant. But in general, I don't really think Bulwark is that good anyways. At this point, if you did this, you would be nerfing it. But I can agree with the main point that the bomb lance is super hard to land its shot for its regular harpoon, and it probably shouldn't be up to just if the person took Bulwark or not for that person to die. It's a whole ass explosive. Landing on them, I think that should kill every time. This person says that a grave sound trap. There's lots of graves around the bayou and in the maps, and it would be really cool if freshly buried zombies had a living grunt in it that would emerge from the ground, making a lot of noise. But this would just bring an extra grunt out of the ground and make a lot of noise, and honestly, I know sound traps can be very annoying some days, and then some days they don't seem as apparent, but I think adding on the versatility of them would be pretty interesting, and I wouldn't be against it either. Now for the last idea, Bayou Brainstorm episode 2, we have somebody saying that the explosive ammunition needs a buff. And I agree, it's in a weird spot, it's not that great, but they're saying that it should disable traps like the explosive suggestion from earlier. And since there's a buff to the traps, at least this ammo type has an extra element to it that it can, you know, take out that element of the traps, like the dynamite from earlier. I think this is a pretty good suggestion as well. But what are your guys' opinions on any of this? I don't have a huge community, so I can't always ask you guys for all your opinions. So leave some comments down below of your guys' opinions on these suggestions or any future suggestions you guys have, so I can make another video with this and I don't have to go to the Discord servers. But with that being said, that is all of Bayou Brainstorm episode 2. I hope to see you in the next video and episode 3. With that being said, I'll see you in the bayou. Subscribe or else.